Now this here is a business, right? The Rorschach. What's going on? The Rorschach. Now these are protected images, some of them. Some of these things are protected by lawyers who protect musicians. And some of these are hardcore skateboarding, old school shit that you can't fuck with. So this human museum or the Rorschach Theater, they should probably fix their images before they get caught for stealing stuff. Because this is all stolen images from hardcore, some of it, and from other music. You might kind of notice the resemblance.
So, fucktards beware. And, yeah, it's right near where I beg at. I beg for money from these rich, wealthy people and these lawyers that don't like to help. But this is these people right here. And it says here, the robots are preparing an exhibition on the last days of humanity when they get a radio call that changes everything. Well, guess what? Y'all shouldn't steal images from fucking crazy people that are like 60 years old who have lawyers now as wives and family members. There's your wake-up call.
I've been sitting here like an hour, got $0. Anybody who tells you homeless people make a lot of money, people in need who beg make a lot of money is lying. I've been sitting here like an hour, got nothing. Z fucking row.
Something I neglected to mention is that I beg within blocks of the White House whenever I beg. And I beg within blocks of Capitol Hill. So it's not like it's just I'm begging in D.C. I'm actually begging from the world leaders and from the national leaders who design the future ahead of time and then create legislation and businesses to follow up on the designs they make of our future for the planet and for all human beings. Like, you know, the people who designed this debt that we're in the United States of $34 trillion, which means $100,000 as soon as your baby is born in the United States, your baby owes $100,000 to the same group of munchkins, which I'm calling these people, who keep walking by and not helping me as a beggar. My sign says mentally ill, disabled, please help. When I was still homeless, it would say homeless. Sometimes it says hungry. But do they help? No, they walk by. That's the future of your children and your grandchildren, of the United States and of the planet. These are the people. United Nations, International Monetary Fund, major institutions of legislation, education, and medicine all conglomerate here to decide how to control the planet, how to govern your mentality, govern mental states of the world. So if you're getting franchised out as a human being, these are the people that do it who ignore me as I beg. And they do. They ignore. And that's what they do. And so if they ignore a suffering person here, no wonder they encourage revolutions and slave trading and all the weird shit that they do and hide. Trafficking of human beings and children, encouraging rape and date rape and the brotherhood of evil. All these ancient old societies from different parts of the planet have broken it up. You've got Saudi Arabia, United States of America, Chinese government upper level officials, and guess who else? New fucking Zealand. New Zealand. Have I missed anyone? Oh, the names of these families, they're all in my book that's already published under a pseudonym. I hope y'all enjoy having your families investigated the same dumbass way you y'all have spent sometimes millions of dollars in one day to fuck my life up with this all the world's a stage philosophy developed by the Corcoran School of Arts, the New York University Experimental Theater Design Company. Did I miss anybody? CIA, FBI, NSA, United States government, and all these diplomatic families from Reston, Virginia, from the 1970s and 80s. Oh, me, I grew up in Reston, Virginia, but I was a poor white trash dude, not one of these rich families that travels the world on our taxpayer dollars and ignore their brother in Washington, D.C. In fact, with multi-million $100 projects just blocks from me, and y'all still ignore me, yet keep my art on the walls in your homes, some of it stolen from what I understand. So now I'm gonna be quiet again and beg some more, and probably won't get shit today, because y'all seem to do the hot cold for me in D.C. So one day's hot for old Nate, one day's cold for old Than Vizdos, and one day's hot for Nathaniel Shelley Vizdos, and one day's cold for the artist N8. Let's not get into my other names and legends about me here in Washington, D.C. Let's just talk about helping a disabled, mentally ill man who wants to fucking eat and smoke some cannabis, which is my medication. Medical cannabis. And so all you people who say you stand up for medical cannabis rights that don't help me, I wonder why you're not, unless you're waiting to get your piece of the pie as well, so you can guarantee your family's millionaire and billionaire status in the future. Of course, that's if we let the economy continue, because the US dollar is a joke. It was only created a couple hundred years ago when they put in slavery and they introduced paper money and human ownership. Paper money and human ownership was where the cash dollar developed. In ancient times, it was precious metals and golds and gems, and sorry, human beings as well. So we need to end this ancient evil of human being ownership as wealth, because wealth means you help other people with your riches. And being rich just means you're a motherfucker who shits on people and acts good for the cameras. And they smile and walk by, but they actually don't help. It's okay, family people. We're actually here to save the family people and destroy the evil monsters. And when I say evil monsters, I'm talking about legislation in the United States of America that permits the prisons to release murderers, rapists, pedophiles, and human traffickers every day in the United States. Yet we know psychologically, according to the new Rainbow Revolution, that psychology does never change. Therefore, the government and the military and the law enforcement willingly know that they're letting monsters, rapists, murderers, pedophiles, and people who buy and sell human beings, either for a moment or for a lifetime, they let them out every day into the zip codes of our country. And you can look them up online. And let's just say someone abducts a child and goes to prison for 10 years, and then they let them go into your neighborhood and they move back in across the street from you. You're not even allowed to say anything to them legally about their evil, ancient crimes, or you can be tried and taken to prison or jail yourself for harassing these good people. So that's the security right there, by the way. Security was standing there a second ago. The cops drive by. The president just drove by about an hour ago. Believe that. And all these little lawyers and other world culture shapers and visionaries still don't help me. Watch this. I'll probably sit here another 2 or 3 hours and won't get shit. And keep paying your taxes, because this is what y'all pay for. People in Washington, D.C., from all over the world in all different skin tones, not giving a fuck about the general population of the planet, as long as they get paid and theirs get paid as well.
So, like, one of the things I keep forgetting to mention is the White House is like 1 block across the street that way. And that's all the White House staff. That's the old war building. That's the Renwick Art Gallery, and that's the headquarters for the Secret Service right there. So, the buildings that have like the 007 James Bond people coming to change in and out are right there. There's one across the street right over there. There's a few other ones around here. One is Washington Square Plaza. And I just watched somebody I know, Ray Conklin, who's in a punk rock band and travels the world as a skateboarder and a punk rocker, who actually seems to work for like the NSA or the CIA or something, just leaving the building. And I've watched him 3 or 4 days now.
And he sees me and he doesn't even walk over and say, "Hey bro, are you okay?" And I've known dude for years. His band has been on my YouTube channel for years. I've videotaped him in multiple cities, including this one. And he has his own private skateboarding ranch in Maryland, which he just rode the limousine to ride on. And I've been laying out here trying to get money for hours and ain't nobody helping me, zero. And that's why I say the people who run the world, such as the ones who run the White House and the World Bank and the IMF and the United Nations, they all have their buildings through here. They don't care. And it's crazy because these people just walked by a couple minutes ago from George Washington University, saying how just one of their departments is $30 trillion in debt. And then they laughed and said, "That's okay, the feds will bail us out, they take care of us." Really, the only reason they fucking exist is because they're a hospital run by thugs, so people can go in and get prescriptions on the daily basis and then sell them on the streets from their emergency room and other doctors there. Like, "Hey, sorry, we have to reschedule your dental appointment. Here's some pain meds, come back in 3 weeks." And they keep repeating the cycle. And that's just one university here within the confines of the White House a few blocks away. Imagine all the other great universities around the world that want you to get a master's degree. Because, you know, the masters are the slave masters who run shit. That term cracker means whip cracker. It has nothing to do with white or black. It just means you're a cracker. You crack the whip. People crack the whip in the streets, they crack the whip in the office, and they crack the whip in the hospital, and they crack the whip in the police department, they crack the whip in the prisons, and they crack the whip in the legislative, they crack the whip in the courts, and they crack the whip in the military. And they sure do crack the whip at all the box stores, like McDonald's and Target and Walmart, because those are usually the easiest place to figure out who the whip crackers are. You know, the ones who lie to old people or people with special needs who work at them, and they say, we'll fix your schedule. And then you go from having 3 days a week to 1 day a week. Those are called whip crackers, or crackers. Babylon's system shuts down humanity, shuts down compassion. And because of that, I'm being desensitized to the fact that no one gives a shit. What if I was to clean up and wear a suit and hang out in Congress and be an influential person? And then what if I was to actually come to power as supposed to happen by this prophecy? Because all these people I grew up around made sure the world knew about it for the past couple decades at least. And now all these people that just walked by these past few days or few weeks or few years walked by me suffering, I can just find out who all of them are and take care of them the new world order way, because I'll be in charge. Shabbat shalom, motherfuckers. Ha ha ha, salam. Ramadan Mubarak. Merry fucking Christmas and happy goddamn New Year. Let's have a 12-month year that makes no fucking sense at all, and let's make our children leave to go to school on a school bus before their parents even go to school. Fuck the United States of America and all their stupid-ass leaders. They don't care, and their workers don't care. And that's why I can say this, and they just look the other way. That's because they watch law enforcement break the law here and smoke weed for the past 2.5 years every day. And now these pencil-pussing nerds are starting to get a little bit nervous. Except for the faggots and the gay ones who promote the queer unicorn shit. And quite frankly, the prostitution of all our young women. Yeah, the homosexuals run the military and the fucking industrial prison machine. And the funny thing is the government workers as well as the street people all give the nod to the hot dog man. They all give him the nod. The government people and the street people give the hot dog man the nod. That's because the government created the Crips and the Bloods. And now they use it as a tool. When I was in jail in Fairfax, they tried to get me to join. And now they're acting like I did, but it was the property man, and he throws in your bag of stuff and he says, choose your colors and you can go upstairs. And that's when they put you in the hole. I didn't choose no colors. And after I prayed to God for 5 days and I prayed to the judges, within about 15 minutes they let me upstairs. Of course, then they played their games with me out there too. Now I'm fucking mentally ill as fuck. And it's these systems of these people that have done this. Washington, D.C. and Fairfax County, Virginia. You know, Lord Fairfax used to own everything west of Washington, D.C. That's Lord Fairfax. So where's Lord Fairfax now? Is that the man David who threatened me in front of the U.S. Park Police and they said for my own well-being I should leave? Well, that's his group of people that almost murdered me on December 30th, about 3 months ago. So, you tell me what goes on around D.C., and I'll use my magic powers. Ooh. So again, I'm begging out here. My sign says, disabled, mentally ill, please help. And they don't.
But they sure do wear expensive clothing and try and look cool. And from what I've experienced, the richest, most billionaire type people I know look like the trashy street people. They dress down. They think it's cool. Nah, bruh. You cannot associate none of y'all no more.